Every loser is just a winner having a bad day. Nobody wakes up and says, I want to live my life in villainy. It's just one bad day that they've perceived, they've made a decision that this is who they are, as opposed to in that moment, this is what's happening. And then a path can be made out of something that's temporary, and before you know it, decades have gone past. You've made one day's temporary falsehood a foundation for a life of falsehood. Be who is true and who is false. Within each and every one of us is that light. Even the cutthroat Bibi, who's a servant in the house of Sajan Thag, has just had one glance of grace of Guru Nanak Badshah, and she's willing to give everything up. The need to blame others for our condition is almost impressed upon us, and there's very little responsibility placed on us to become the true friend to one another, to be the friend that we should all wish to have.
कर सेवा एक ओंकार सतगुर सज्जन से नाल मैं सज्जन से नाल मैं सज्जन से नाल मैं सज्जन से चल दिया नाल चलन चल दिया नाल चलन सज्जन से नाल मैं सज्जन से चल दिया नाल चलन चल दिया नाल चलन सज्जन से नाल मैं सज्जन से नाल जल कहा चिलकना जल कहा चिलकना कोट में कालरी मास कोट में कालरी तोते लेखा मांगिया जिथे लेखा मांगिया तिथे खरे दे सज्जन से नाल मैं सज्जन से नाल कोठे मंडप मारिया कोठे मंडप मारिया पासों चितविया पासों चितविया डठिया कामना आवनी डठिया कामना आवनी विचों सखनिया सज्जन से नाल मैं सज्जन से नाल मैं चल दिया नाल चलन चल दिया नाल चलन सज्जन से सज्जन से सज्जन से नाल मैं
परम सत्कारयोग गुरु खालसा साध संगत जी गज बज के फतेह बुलाओ वाहे गुरु जी का खालसा वाहे गुरु जी की फतेह. It's so wonderful to be sitting in the Sangat. It's a beautiful bright day outside. It feels like it's been winter for about 14 years, and to be blessed to be sitting in the Sangat. We could be anywhere on a Thursday night, but the Sangat have so kindly come in such numbers to give us their darshan, to allow us to sit in their company, to allow us to sit together and take the blessings of being in the Sangat. It's such a blessing to be here. I'm so grateful to sit in and amongst all of you, that we can learn together, that we can share the Guru's fateh. And the vichar, the journey we're going to go on today, is a Shabad, which I was standing with the lads on security serve on a Monday a few weeks ago. This was the Hukunama Shabad that came up. And as I was going through it, it just caught my interest. I started doing a bit of Koj on this Shabad. And like many of the Shabads in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, there's an Uttanika. Uttanika means there's a historical context which is readily available, where we can actually see where Guru Nanak Badshah were, where whichever house in which that form has come, from Guru Nanak Badshah to Guru Gobind Singh Ji, wherever they were, we can read about and we can understand the historical context where Maharaj was, that when this Gurbani decided to flow from the heavens, we Turki Bani Ai, then a Sagli Chintamatai. And as we delve deeper into the Shabad, I just felt very blessed to have that understanding, and I wanted to share that with the Sangat. And with the grace from Guru Sahib, we're going to try and get the ras from the Shabad, that we can take this Shabad into our hearts. The teaching is as relevant today as it was when Guru Nanak Badshah spoke these words to Sajan Thag about the falsehood of the people of this world in this dark age of Kal Yug, where truth and righteousness has grown wings and flown away. Guru Nanak Badshah themselves say, Gur Amavas Sach Chandarma Dise Nahi Ke Chariya. They say, in this darkness of this world, Gur, in this dark Amavas, in this like Hanera, this dark false world, such Chandarama is so dark that you can't even see the moon of truth. But who's to be trusted? Where should we go? From whom should we speak? And to whom should we seek counsel? Gur Amavasa Sach Chandarama Dise Nahi Ke Chariya. Even in the darkness, ordinarily there's a moon to guide us. The moonlight guides us. Maharaj says, Sach Chandarama Dise Nahi Ke Chariya. Even Chandarama, the moon, has gone away. Maharaj says, Kalkati Raje Ka Sai Taram Pankad Udariya. That Taram itself has grown wings, become taken the wings of a bird and flown away from this world. And it's in this darkness of this world that, in fact, Guru Nanak Pacha would come and give us that light. They would be the light for us, for those that were otherwise living in the blind wilderness. And Guru Sahib, on their first Udasi, they leave Mata Salakhi, they leave their wife, they leave Mata Nanaki out, they leave the first Sikh in the Panth, Mata Nanaki, their sister, and they leave that place and they set out into the world. Mata Salakhi says to Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, why do you have to do things differently all the time? Why can't you just do prachar here? Why must you go into the world? Look at your knees. And Guru Nanak Pacha looks to their knees, they see Baba Siri Chand, Baba Lakshmi Das crying their eyes out, holding onto their knees, saying, Dad, don't go. And Guru Nanak Pacha, that king of this earth, the Jagat Guru, they would say to Mata Salakhi, you can see your sons crying, but you can't see that the whole world is in tears. And so I go now to bring that light where there is now darkness. And Guru Nanak Pacha, on this first Udasi, on many occasions when we go to the teachings of Bhai Veer Singh, Guru Pratap, Suraj Granth, these are all references that you can seek out the history that we're going to share this evening together. Bhai Veer Singh speaks about Guru Nanak Pacha going with Bhai Mardana, and Bhai Mardana on many occasions after having gone without food for many days is hungry. And he would say to Guru Nanak Dev Ji, I'm very hungry. And Maharaj would always provide for Bhai Mardana, or Bhai Mardana would be struggling without water. And they would say to Guru Nanak Pacha, I'm struggling. And on this particular occasion, after many of these instances, they come across this mansion on the edge of the outskirts of the city. And having been exhausted for many days and having not eaten or had any drink, the house would be very alluring to anyone's eyes. And the house master comes out and he presents himself to Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. And he says, my name is Sajan, and I am indeed your friend. Sajan meaning friend. On each side of the house, on one side there's a Shivali the Mandir, there's a mandir dedicated to the worship of Shivji Maharaj. And on the other is a mosque to be used as a masjid for the namaz for the Muslims. Sajan says, I'm a friend to both Hindus and Muslims. Come, let us take care of you. And in this way, Bhai Mardana and Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji, they go into this house. Sajan thinks that they are obeying his command, but Guru Nanak Pacha is obeying the hukum of Parmeshwar Vaheguru. They go into this house and Sajan offers them food. And Bhai Mardana, that's always hungry, hasn't eaten for a long time, sitting in the company of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, this delicious food is brought out, milk is brought out, and Sajan's servants are offering this food. And Bhai Mardana is like, Guru Sahib, for some reason, I'm not hungry. Guru Nanak Pacha says, we don't want any food. Sajan Thag offers again and again, goes, I'm a very good friend, you should trust me. Look at this, it would be a great sin for me if you don't take this food. Bhai Veer Singh says these words, they write these words. Guru Nanak Pacha says, it would be a great sin for us to take this food. It would be a great sin for us it would be a great sin for you for us to eat this food. Sajan keeps on trying to impress with these false words, and every time that Guru Nanak Dev Ji's gaze is graced upon Sajan Thag puts his head down. You see, there's a plot that's being played out here, but Sajan Thag doesn't know that it's already known to Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Sajan Thag, in fact, would have the habit, a history of pretending outwardly to be a very pious person. But behind this very mansion, which is flanked by a mosque and a mandir, is a secret path that is covered to those that don't know it, those who would be waywardly passing this mansion and seek refuge. And across that path is in fact a well where Sajan would take his guests in the darkest of the hours, slit their throats and throw them in the well and steal their belongings. He was no friend at all but for his namesake. And so Sajan Thag has these plans. Looking at Guru Nanak Dev Ji, he sees a shine to Guru Nanak and he thinks, this guy's wealthy, there must be something glimmering about him, he must have wealth. Unbeknownst to him, that shine was in fact the nadari, that kirpa of Sri of Parmeshwar Vaheguru. So Sajan Thag is trying to impress Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji, after hearing Sajan Thag offer over and over again, he says, my name is Sajan. And it was during the course of this conversation where he's trying to demonstrate that he's a friend, that Guru Nanak Dev Ji, they sanade Shabad. They say, Sajan say Naal mein jaldiya Naal chalan. Jithe lekha mangiye, tithe khare disan. They say, you calling yourself a friend, this is the central theme to this Shabad. They're saying, you're calling me your friend. You're saying that you're my friend, but will you be the one that will go with me beyond this world? A true friend is that one that stands with you in good times and in bad times, but a real friend, a completely true friend that is without any blemish, is the one that will go with you. When I've got to go give my account for my actions, it's that friend that will stand with you in those days and be by your side. But who is that one that will not flee the battlefield of your own garam? Forget the battlefield of a high school playground. Forget the battlefield of standing up with your friends financially against difficult circumstances, or any worldly situation where we see honor and brotherhood and loyalty. What about that higher playing field? Who stands with you beyond this world when you have to go give your account? This is the Rahao Shabad. Guru Sahib is saying, how are you, my friend? How is it that you can recognize yourself as the name Sajan if you are not able to go with me beyond this world? And in the course of this conversation, Guru Nanak Bacha, they go to their room. They refuse to take any food. And as Sajan is speaking, offering food, Guru Nanak Dev Ji leaves Sajan to think about this. He says, Sajan, a fisherman, Bhai Veer Singh writes of this account, they say fisherman casts his net in the hope to catch fish. But unbeknownst to that fisherman, sometimes when they cast their net, they catch a crocodile. And all of a sudden, the hunter becomes the hunted. As unbeknownst to Sajan, who thinks that he's in control, that he has power over this situation, that somehow Guru Nanak Dev Ji is falling into his net. Guru Nanak Bacha is playing out the hukum of Parmeshwar Vaheguru and giving us the teaching that in fact everybody is within the hukum, within that net of Sri Parmeshwar Vaheguru Akho Satanam Sri Vaheguru. So the night comes on and Sajan goes to plot. He goes with his friends and his many servants that have cut the many men's throats in the night. And they get together and they do vichar. We're going to come on to that. We're going to just go through the first two pankti of the Shabad. Hanji. Ujjal So in the night, the servants are sharpening their blades and they're getting ready to take their orders. And they're speaking, they're saying, listen, we're a little bit rattled by this Nanak. But Mardana, they didn't take any food. They weren't tempted by this delicious food that had been cooked up that would normally tempt any man. And then they refused the calls for the milk. And now they're talking about a crocodile. But what is this talk of a crocodile being caught in a net? Maybe this Nanak, we shouldn't be messing around with him. Maybe he's like been sent as a detective. The word used by Veer Singh is that maybe he's been sent as an official to see of any misgivings, because many people have gone missing. Bhai Veer Singh writes that 100 people approximately have had their throats cut by Sajan Thag. A great murderer is this gang. Is he the head of this gang? And they're doing this, they're undertaking this conversation, and we get to understand from this vichar between Sajan Thag and his servants, one of them says, look, maybe we've got it wrong. Maybe he's just a pious being. Did you see the chehra? Did you see the light coming from their forehead? One of the other servants go, that wasn't his forehead, he's just got some jewels knocking around. There was a bright flicker of light somewhere. He's rich. When we cut his throat, we're going to find his wealth and we'll better take it as our own. And the other is saying, no, there's something not right here, man. This doesn't feel like a path that we should be continuing. Sajan Thag says, listen, don't think that there's any true people in this world. Because I tried that life. I served many of these saints to find out all of their falsehoods. My heart has been broken many times. How do you think it's become so much like a stone? We get to learn that Sajan Thag has got a history where he tried to be pious. And in fact, his true nature was just that. But he'd been hurt so much through life's obstacles that his life had been turned to stone, that his heart had been turned to stone. He goes, if there was any true people, I would have become one of them through their company. There is no true people in this way. And he says to his friends, the one that is now speaking that Guru Nanak Dev Ji is true in this rank, in our ranks right now, let's cut her throat right now. Let her be the first to spill her blood. And then we can get to this Nanak and this Mardana later. So they're plotting, and the light, the nadari is upon her face. She says, look, you might as well kill me now. I want no part of this. I've looked into his eyes. In his eyes are all the galaxies of this world. Jab karak kara kar tara prajata rat tab deha para jab a karak karat ho kab hu tum mein milit dehe dar sabun. Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj gives us this in that prayer of protection. If we're lucky enough, we have this vibration in the mornings and in the evening as part of Reras. She goes, I'm taken by this one. You might as well cut my throat, because just looking upon him means I can no longer be on this path. She reflects and she says, listen, I used to serve the saints. How have I ended up in this place? How have I ended up this place where I'm serving a cutthroat? I used to serve the saints with my husband, and now this is my situation. I heard something really beautiful once, and it stayed in my mind. And it said, every loser is just a winner having a bad day. Every loser is just a winner having a bad day. Nobody wakes up and says, I want to live my life in villainy. It's just one bad day that they've perceived, and this is they've made a decision that this is who they are, as opposed to in that moment, this is what's happening. And then a path can be made out of something that's temporary, and before you know it, decades have gone past, and you've made a whole foundation of you've made one day's temporary falsehood a foundation for life of falsehood. Looking back on it, be who is true and who is false. Within each and every one of us is that light. Even the cutthroat Bibi, who's a servant in the house of Sajan Thag, has just had one glance of grace of Guru Nanak Pacha, and she's willing to give everything up. And Sajan Thag, his heart is broken one too many times. In the face of this wisdom, he can't bear to see it. In the face of this wisdom, Sajan Thag is still blind to whose company he sits within. Though he's still baffled by the reference to a crocodile, he goes to his room. He goes to his room and he's thinking, in the early hours we've now resolved, we'll wait until the earliest hours and then we'll go and we'll cut their throats. We'll take this whatever wealth it is that's shining and we'll make it our own. But Sajan Thag, he can't sleep. He goes to his room, he can't sleep. He can hear something. Bhai Mardana is manipulating the strings of his rabab. Bhai Mardana's legendary kirtan, that even to this day, it just bewilders me what vibration would have come from listening to Bhai Mardana's rabab. And in this way, as Bhai Mardana is manipulating the strings of their rabab, Sajan Thag, they find themselves now even further from sleep than they already were. And they come to the edge of their room, they peer out, and through a gap, they look into the room and they can hear Guru Nanak Pacha singing. And what do they hear? Be ujjal keha chilkhana kotham kalari massa totiya jhoot na utare je so tovatis. So they hear the beginning of the Shabad in Rag Suhi. Rag Suhi is the Rag of Milap, the Rag that tells us about how we should join with Parmeshwar Vaheguru, how we can connect. And Guru Sahib saying, it's like this, they've come to this inn to see Sajan Thag. They haven't happened upon Sajan Thag, they've gone to see Sajan Thag to set them free. And what do they say? They say, Ujjal ke hachil khana, kotham kalari masa. Ujjal, bronze, ke hachil khana. When you look at it, you might say this is shiny. Keha chilkana kotham kalari mas. But when you when you take something to that like a cloth and you rub that bronze over and over again, thinking it might be gold, might be sona kotham, what happens? Kalari, the dirt of the true nature of that instrument comes to the surface. Kalari mas. Totiya jhoot na utare. No matter how many times you wash that bronze, it won't become gold. It won't take on that character. Totiya jhoot na utare, jeso to vatis. No matter how many times. And Sajan Thag hears this Shabad, and they start to feel the vibration within them start to open up. Sajan say naal mein, Guru Nanak Dev Ji goes on, Sajan say naal mein. They're speaking they're singing with Bhai Mardana, but they're speaking, if you will, to Sajan Thag. They'll be Sajan say naal mein, chal diya naal chalan. But this one is saying that he's my friend, who's got a house for Muslims on the one side, a house for Hindus on the other, and a well for those who he's going to kill in the night at the back. Sajan say naal mein, chal diya naal chalan, jithe lekha mangiye, tithe khare desan. Who is a true friend? The one who will be in my company when I have to leave this world, who will give their account. Who is that one, Sad Sangat Ji? Who is that one? It is our great Satguru Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. It is our Guru, Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, that is in our company this day and every day in this world and even in the world beyond. It is our Guru that goes to take our account and make it their own to take responsibility for. You know, I was speaking to Gyani Sukraj Singh Ji about this. I'll be very honest with you. I was a little bit stuck with this. Maaf karna Sad Singh Ji. I didn't have shanka of Bani. I had shanka of my own understanding, the limitations of my mind. So I phoned an elder and I said, Gyani Ji, I'm a little bit stuck. On the one hand, Nome Pacha, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji is saying, Be sukh mein bo sangi pe dukh mein sang na koi. That Maharaj is saying, Be sukh mein, only in the times of sukh, people are with you, but dukh mein sang na koi. That nobody can be with you when you leave this world for dukh. When you've got to go account for your actions, that we come alone, that we go alone. How do we reconcile that with this Shabad, jithe lekha mangiye, tithe khare desan, that someone's going to be able to stand with you? These two Shabads seem to be at ends with one another by my limitations of my understanding. And I spoke to Gyani Ji and they gave me such a wonderful sikya. They said, listen, Amandeep Singh, you have to understand. Guru Sahib is speaking to the world. There are a whole bunch of people out there that are just doing business with each other and they're making promises at the edge of a bar over a pint of beer, and they say, listen, I'm with you. But there's complete falsehood in their words. They don't mean those words. And even if they did, they don't have any kumai to go with those words. So they're helpless even for their own situation. How are they going to help somebody else? But what you're comparing it to when Guru Nanak Dev Ji is saying, Jithe lekha mangiya tithe khare desan, that there's those that, who are those that will go with you and stand next to you when you have to give your account? Because that is for the Khalsa. For the Khalsa, these rules do not apply. The Khalsa is above the rules of this game because they're beyond this world. They've already given their heads to Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. So what lekha is it for them to bear? And so in this way we have such a wonderful understanding of what a true Sajan is. If you're lucky enough to be in the company of the Guru Khalsa. If you're lucky enough to be in the company of the Guru Khalsa and they take you under the choli of the Khalsa. If you're lucky enough to be in the company of the Guru, then you can know that you're in the company of a true friend. Akho Satanam Sri. So Guru Sahib goes on, Hanji.
Kothe mandap Maria, Kothe mandap Maria, Paso Chitviya. Kamna avani vicho sakhniya, vicho sakhniya.
Kothe mandap Maria. Guru Sahib says these kothe are these big houses, mandap Maria, these tall buildings. Pasahol Chittaviyaha, that on all four sides have been painted and decorated such beauty and grandeur. Guru Sahib says, Dattiya kamna avani. They'll be of no come to you, they'll be of no avail or any use to you, these wonderful houses. Vichaho, because within them, sakaniyaha, within them, inside those houses, all the plaster is falling off. All the wiring doesn't work. The rooms you can't stay in because they're poisonous. This is like Sajan's house. Outwardly looks so beautiful, flanked by these wonderful temples that are supposedly going to give you liberation. But within, we have skullduggery, we have falsehood, we have false intentions. Guru Sahib is talking about these buildings, but actually it's a reference to our own falsehoods. And Guru Sahib isn't talking about somebody else that you can look to and go, you're a bad person. Guru Sahib is inviting us to reflect inwardly. You'll see as we go further in the Shabad, actually it's a reflection for all of us. Guru Sahib is saying outwardly you present your best self. But Guru Sahib is saying that doesn't have any come for you. If the way that you speak outwardly isn't a real reflection of who you are, be your jeevan should be prachar. One of the Singhs said to me, one of my older brothers said to me, when I started doing katha, he said, Amandeep Singh, is one thing what you say on the stage, but your jeevan should be prachar. The way that you conduct yourself, the way that you are when you're on your own, the way that you have satkar for your brothers and sisters, the way that you live, your Rani Beni, that is your red, that is who you are. Not what you read on a piece of paper and subscribe to necessarily, although that's very important too. But who are you when nobody's looking? Who are you when there's a person who has nothing to offer you? How do you treat them compared to the guy that has the gold that you're looking for? And Guru Sahib is saying, Kothe mandap Maria pasoho chitviyaha. Don't decorate yourself outwardly and all of these wonderful brandings of goodness. Be dattiya kamna yavani, but within you there's nothing good, there's nothing of any value that can be subscribed as a reference as being consistent with your outwardly aware. Hanji.
Bagga bage kapare tirth manj vasan kut kut jiya khavane bagge na kahiyan bagge na kahiyan सज्जन से नाल मैं चल दया नाल चलन सज्जन से नाल मैं चल दया नाल चलन
Guru Sahib says, let me give you a further understanding. Bagga bagge kappare. These wonderful birds, these heron birds, they decorate these sacred places of pilgrimage, these Tirat places, these 68 places in the Hindu, in the Sanatan Dharam, in the old faith. There's 68 places which are regarded as very holy. Pavitra, that if you go to those places, you can get many blessings. Guru Sahib says, Bagga bagge kappare. Tirat manj vasan. These places are covered by these beautiful birds that by association, because they're dwelling in these Tirat manj vasan, because they're living in these places of Tirat, but you look at them and you think these are very holy. In fact, even their color is this white. They're adorned in this great play of nature with these beautiful white feathers. They look pure. Bagga bagge kappare tirat manj vasanda. But what of these birds? What is the nature of these birds that you look at and you just think they're so holy and royal and regal in their pronouncement? Guru Sahib says, "Kut kut jiya khavane." But what they do is they capture fish. Kut kut jiya khavane. They cause these fish to suffer. They eat them alive. Bagene na kehi. And if you look at their actions, you wouldn't consider them pure at all, as they're bloodthirsty. And the way that they're eating this fish, they torture them by ripping their flesh apart. Kut kut jiya khavane. Such is the play of nature as unraveled by Parameshwar Vaheguru. Kut kut jiya khavane bagge na kehi. And Guru Sahib saying, just by association, what is Guru Sahib saying? They're saying that people that surround themselves with at places of religious worship, People that are like Sajan Thag, he's got like a mandir on one side, he's got to be religious, right? And even for the Muslims, although he's not one, he's got a place of worship for them too. But this guy's great. And Guru Sahib saying, I'm not fooled by your strategy. Just by association, just because you're in a place of dharma, just because you're in a dharmic astan, doesn't make you worthy of dharam. Dharam is what we do. This is the difference between religion. Religion is what you believe in, and we often translate the word dharam to religion. Jugraj Baji would talk about this in their katha. They would say dharam and religion are not translations of one another. Religion is what you believe. Dharam is what your actions are, what your day-to-day way of living is. And so Guru Sahib is giving this teaching to us, especially in this dark age of Kal Yug, that whilst we should have pyar, we should have vishwash, we should have faith, we should have sharda, especially as a sangat, we should have that with each other, the way that we lived with each other as a family. But at the same time, Guru Sahib is giving us this teaching, have that awareness that just because somebody is in a religious place, or your association with them is one of religiosity, that of itself doesn't mean anything, because in this way, one might look religious, but their actions and the way that who they really are could be something different. Hanji.
Simmal rukh sareer mein, simmal rukh sareer mein, main jan dekh pulan se phal kam
Guru Sahib is saying, and it's really beautiful, you see the humility of Parameshwar Vaheguru here in the form of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. They're saying, they're not talking and they're not judging other people. Maharaj, Guru Nanak Dev Ji shows us, they personify all of humility. They say, Simmal rukha sareer mein. That, let's not talk about anybody else, says Guru Nanak Dev Ji. They say, look at me as an example. They go, outwardly, Simmal rukha, I've got this outward embodiment of a tree of beauty and religiosity. I look so pure in this way. Similar rukha sareer mein. Guru Nanak Dev Ji, they're the form of God, right? But they're just giving this example to all of us that follow. We don't think that the world is bad and that you're good. That the way to Parameshwar Vaheguru is through that nimrata. They say similar rukha sareer mein. My sareer looks completely like that willow tree that is beyond blemish. They say similar rukha sareer mein jan, and in this way the world mein jan dekha pulan. The world is looking at me this way and they're completely fooled. Guru Nanak Dev Ji is saying, everybody's looking at me this way, they think because of the way that I present myself that I'm completely pure and that I'm without blemish. But they say, actually, when you go inside, they say, if you take the fruit of this tree, the simul tree looks really beautiful, but when you take the fruit of this tree, it doesn't have any sugar inside it. It's not sweet at all. And its appearance, but when you take the fruit of the tree, it doesn't bear any sweetness. And they say, in this way, this is the virtues of my body. Outwardly, my body has all virtues by appearance. But what are the virtues that we embody within? Have we got kindness? Have we got compassion? Do we have the courage to stand next to our neighbor or stand in front of our neighbor when they're in need, to block whatever obstacle it is that they're facing? And Maharaj, obviously this is just a metaphor. Guru Nanak Dev Ji, they're perfect, but it's really interesting. They're talking about falsehood and they're here destroying that facade that Sajan Thag has put up. But they're not pointing at Sajan Thag and saying, you're this. They give the reference that ujal ke hachil khana, that you might look good, but inside there's blackness in a metaphor. But Guru Nanak Dev Ji, they've found another way to reveal Sajan Thag to themselves. The way that they find to reveal Sajan Thag to themselves is a way of sharda, is a way of humility, is a way of nimrata. And they're speaking about themselves, and they say, Te gun mein tan han. Te gun, this gun, Main tanhan. This is the way of my own body. It is without any virtue. It looks nice. It looks presently beautiful before you. Even as I sit before you, these aren't my robes. This is the stamp of the Guru's Khalsa. This is the Bana of Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. I'm not worthy of this. I don't think any Singh who wears the Bana of the Guru could stand up and go, yep, I've earned this. These stripes have been earned on the battlefield. Except for the Panj Pyare, the Panj Beed, the Gurmukhs that stood before Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, and the blessed souls like Gyani Gurbachan Singh Ji Khasa Pindrawala, today's Gyani Kulwant Singh Ji, Sant Gyani Hari Singh Ji. There are only a few that would probably, could even say through this path is worthy. But still Guru Sahib gives us this ability to walk with their stamp upon us, that they stamp us with their own appearance. But let's be very clear, this doesn't make us worthy. We should open up our hearts from a place of shukran. If we're lucky enough to have the star on our heads, this isn't an accomplishment, this isn't a level that we've reached. Not to berate anyone here that's making this journey. But it's not about worthiness. None of us are kings in the house of the Guru. We're all beggars, right? Hum kukar tere darbar. If we're lucky enough to be involved in this pant through any seva we have, the only way to receive that blessing is from a place of shukrana. From a place of shukrana. Guru Sahib, I'm just hanging on here. I've just about got my head above water. Thank you for keeping me safe, and thank you for keeping me in your house. These are my own words, but I invite you to make them your own. It will keep you safe from your ego. You know? So even I sit before you as your servant, and you might think, oh, this guy's really religious. This is the Guru's maryada. This is the Guru's appearance, and they've given it as a gift. This isn't mine. I'm not worthy of this. I'm not worthy of even your company. Nanak Das, Guru Nanak Dev Ji themselves look at the Sangat and they say, I'm the servant of the Sangat. This is the way. The way is the way of humility. And in this way, Guru Sahib is giving us a great teaching that in any event in this dark age, whomsoever presents themselves in a robe, whomsoever presents themselves in a certain way, that is not necessarily the truth of who they are. The truth of who they are will be revealed in their virtues. Their gun main tan han. Guru Sahib saying is their gun. That is the nature of who I really am. Look at the nature of who I am, Hanji.
Andle paare uthaya dugar vaat bolte akhi dori naal akhi dori naal
This path is difficult sometimes, man. Andale par uthaya. But you got to walk up this mountain, you got this weight on your back. The weight of all of our karam, the weight of the obstacles that we have to climb over, which are also going to increase that gradient of this path, right? Andale par uthaya. How am I going to be able to cross over, Guru Sahib saying? How am I going to be able to climb up this mountain? You know, Guru Sahib is saying, Andale, not only is this weight upon me, but Andale, I'm blind. But it's dark outside and there's no light. Guru Sahib is giving us such empathy. They're saying, I understand the condition of your place. I understand where you are. Guru Sahib is going on to say, Aki lor na laha. I've got eyes. Yeah, I've got eyes, but I can't really see. I'm blind to where I'm supposed to be going. So what would any use of eyes be? I don't even know where I'm supposed to be going. You know, Bhai Gurdas Ji says this. One of my older brothers told me this 25 years ago. The question still ponders me. Be Pritam ki des. Pritam ki des kaise baatam se jaiye. Be Bhai Gurdas Ji asked such a simple question. There's so much depth to this. I invite you to make this your own ponderance. Be Pritam ki des. That land of the beloved. Kaise baatam se jaiye. How do I get there? What is it that I have to do to get there? Pritam, outside the script, outside what we think it is. What is it specifically that I've got to do? Because we've got our own paths, right? We've got our own journey. We might live on the same land, but we're looking to go through a different path based on our profession, our karam, our family. We've all got a different journey. Pritam ki des. Given that, how do we get to this land of our beloved? What is it that I have to do? Sad Sangat Ji, if we just close our eyes for a moment and we just do some Simran, we're blessed. My brother Juginder Singh has blessed us with his company. We take the name of Parameshwar Vaheguru through the Kirtan. How do we cross over to that land of the beloved Hanji?
Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru.
सज्जन सही नाल में चल दिया नाल चलन जिथे लेखा मंगिए तिथे खरे दिसन. Sad Sangat Ji, in this dark age of Kaljug, the need to blame others for our condition is almost impressed upon us. We look for the excuse. Who is it that you've got to look to be saying that's done you wrong? And there's very little responsibility placed on us to become the true friend to one another, to be the friend that we should all wish to have. It's very quick to look to the poster and see a poster saying, who's false people in this world, and immediately go outwardly. But Guru Nanak Pacha, they're saying similar Rukha Sarir mein, they're saying, I am the one that outwardly looks this way, but inwardly there's no fruits within me. And they're the form of God. They are the king of this whole universe. Sad Sangat Ji, the question we have to ask ourselves is not who is false around us. The question we have to ask ourselves is, how true am I to those that need me? How have I been to those, not that we live for the judgment and validation of our peers, that's a different conversation, but the question we have to ask ourselves is, for those that could look to rely on us, are we reliant worthy? Are we reliance worthy? Are we the person that should be honoured? If one of those things phone me, not there's anything in me of any worthiness, but should I be lucky enough to get a phone call, the attitude should be I'm honoured. For some reason or another, I've got a chance to show who I am. There's an opportunity for me to show my virtue. But Guru Sahib bless me that I can be worthy, that I can stand up to this request. How many of us feel that way, that we get called into a favour and we should feel in our hearts, yo, Guru Sahib, thank you. Thank you for letting me be picked. This should be the attitude of who we are. My brother here, I phoned him last night. I said, bro, I'm in a bit of a jam. I need you tomorrow. He's got a million things going on. He's from the worst part of town. He's from South London. And he said, I'm there for you. And this isn't a one-off. For 9 months, I called him every week. I said, I need you. We did Ladivar Katha here a few years ago. The man was here for me every week. This is what it means in the worldly sense to be, I'm with you. Be jitte lekha mangi. You got to be there. You got to be there at 7 p.m. I might be getting married. I might have all of these things going on, but I'm with you. No one can take that away. That lekha is there now, right? I'm bound to this man. You know, he gets married in Toronto. I've got to fly to Toronto. I can't let my mind down. We're so keen to look to others for what they can do for us, but we should be saying, what do you need? Sajan say Naal mein chal diya, Naal mal chalan. I know for a fact that I thought I was a person, that I had the strength. The last few years have taught me, without going into too much details, that I'm blessed to have those around me that are actually propping me up, that they're the ones that are holding me up. There's nothing to me. I'm just a fake tree. Outwardly, I look very pretty in the Guru's bana, but outwardly, it might seem that way, but truthfully, I'm being propped up by great Gurmukhs that I'm lucky enough to have in my company. And so this great teaching is coming to us. We give up this cleverness, man. We sit at a table with our friends and we strategize who's getting the best deal here. How does that serve us? Guru Sahib says in the last 2 panktiya, they just deal it out, man. Listen to what Guru Sahib says.
Chakriya chaniya abr se aanat kite Nanak naam samal tu Nanak naam samal tu Pata shut hai jit Pata shut hai jit
Guru Sahib just puts it straight down the line. They go, look, you're thinking about falsehood, you're looking to others. They go, give it up, man. Stop trying to strategize and judge others. Nanak naam samal tu chop karke baitha raho, chomkri lao. Yeah, do the work. Sit in the company, Amardeep Singh, of the Guru. Stop looking to the shortcomings of others like you got some lens to be able to measure. Sit in the company of the Guru, Nanak, sit in the company of the Guru and the Sangat. Nanak naam samal tu. Sambal the name of God. Take some time to make your home that temple and take the name of Parameshwar Vaheguru and sambal it within you. Make your house not like Sajan Thag's outwardly, just in appearance. Make your home har mandar eho sareer hai. Make your house a home for God to reside in. Maharaj says, Chakriya changiyan ya, avar syanab kit. Give up all this cleverness. Nanak naam samal tu, badda chutte jita. And they finish this with the word jit, be victorious in this way. Guru Sahib is saying, if you want to be victorious, it ain't going to be the strategy. We've been taught it's all about transactions. We measure our friendships by what they have done for us. This has been indoctrinated into us, and we're not thinking about who we should be for others. We're not thinking about our own falsehoods in the way that we are looking to others and what we have done for others. Sadh Sangat Ji, wouldn't it be a wonderful thing if all of us were dedicated into the service of one another? That we were fighting with each other to say, what can I do for you? No, I'm great, I'm fine right now. You'll find, Sadh Sangat Ji, there's very few problems to concern you. I know this from a personal experience. You'll find that problems only come to overwhelm you when you're focusing on yourself. When you're dedicated into the service of others, there's no problem that can hold any sway over you. There might be obstacles, but they hold no sway in your mind. They have no control over your consciousness. Sadh Sangat Ji, Sajan Thag, they hear the Shabad of the Guru and they start crying out. Sadh Sangat Ji, they hear the Shabad of Guru Nanak Dev Ji in Bhai Mardana and they confess everything. They say, Ujjal keha chilkhana kotham kalari masabi. I am the one that's black inside Guru Sahib. How many have I killed? Because my heart has been broken. What is going to happen to me? What lekha is there? I've got to suffer this lekha. I'm finished. What's going to happen to me? Please give me a bachan, give me a sikya, make me your Sikh. Allow that vibration from the Shabad to enter me, save me. And Guru Nanak Pacha, they give the instruction to Sajan Thag, they say, demolish this mansion of hypocrisy and falsehood and death. Destroy this place and make a dharamsal here. All wealth that you have collected through robbing people, distribute this to those that are in need. Let it be the case now that your life will be dedicated to bringing this discourse of truth to others. In this way, Sadh Sangat Ji, Sajan Thag would become reformed, that they would become a Sikh of the Guru, that would become the first dharamsal. Even to this day, you can go to Pakistan and that place where Sajan Thag had their kothia, when they had that mandap, when they had these beautiful buildings, there's now a gurdwara there. And why this Shabad is so important is because it comes up over and over again. Our ego is so big, we think that my path is written off, there's no way for me. That I want to become a Singh, I want to become a Singhani, but because of my conditioning, because of my circumstance, because of my family, because of what choices I've made, there's no way for me. But these examples of Sajan Thag, of Goda Rakshish, of Bali Kandari, these people that have been written off in the world, when they come into the house of the Guru, we hear about their history because they're examples to us that if we truly fall at the Guru's feet, that we are saved over and over again. We might be black inside, but it's the Guru that can transform us to gold. And in this way, Sadh Sangat Ji, we're going to just allow Juginder Singh to do his thing. We're going to just go through the Shabad, just over, say, 4 or 5 minutes. Now we know by the blessings of the Guru, the context of where this Shabad was given to us. Let's join with the Shabad. Let's do the work, Sadh Sangat Ji. Let's straighten up our backs. Let's close our eyes. We're all in many ways, or some way or another, Sajan Thag, for the way that we are murdering the opportunities before us, the opportunity of this life, that we're plundering it in some ways or another. The metaphor is there for us to take relevance from this. And let's take the Shabad, as Juginder Singh, my brother, takes us, as Bhai Amritpal Singh Ji, who sits with me in the Seva, sits with us. And let's now vibrate together and ask Guru Sahib to take away that skullduggery of our own minds, that we can leave here enlightened, that we can leave here connected to the Shabad. Hanji.
Sajan se naal main, sajan se naal main, chal gaya naal chalan, chal gaya naal chalan, sajan se naal main, sajan se naal main, jithe lekha mangiya, jithe lekha mangiya, tithe khair disan, tithe khair disan, sajan se naal main, sajan se naal main, chal gaya naal chalan, chal gaya naal chalan, sajan se naal main, sajan se naal main, ujjal ke hath likna, कोट में कालरी मस, तोतिया झूठना उतरे, जैसो तो वापिस, सजन से नाल main, सजन से नाल main, चल गया नाल चलन, चल गया नाल चलन, सजन से नाल main, सजन से नाल main, चल गया नाल चलन, जिथे लेखा मंगिया, जिथे लेखा मंगिया, तिथे सजन से नाल मैं सजन से नाल मैं चल गया नाल चलन चल गया नाल चलन सजन से नाल में।
So Sadh Sangat Ji, this Shabad is an amplification, is this vibration that can't be reduced to anything. It is the source of all creation. This Shabad is Parameshwar Vaheguru, the vibration abounding. The Rahal Pankti of this Shabad gives us the Najor, the root of this Shabad, the teaching that we should go away reflecting. And Guru Sahib is saying, Sajjana say naal mein jaldi aa naal chalan. That true friend is that one that will go with you in this company. Jithe lekha mangi hai, that when you have to give your account, they're the ones that will stand by your side. They're the ones, tithe khare disan. My benti Sadh Sangat, it's only a request. I've got no right to give any instructions here. I'm just your brother. We're in this together, all of us, before Guru Sahib, as one. My benti is, let's take the Rahal Pankti. Let's do a little bit of work on this. Let's memorize the Rahal Pankti. I think we can probably get that dropped in the group. If you guys are not in the group, we'll put the QR code on the screen. Let's do a bit of work and let's bump into each other as we come to the Guru Card in the coming weeks and be like, Sajjan say naal mein jaldi aa naal chalan. Jithe lekha mangi hai, tithe khare desan. If you're from out of town and you're going to go to your local Guru Card, come to Guru Sahib, say, listen, I know why I'm here. Be Sajjan say naal mein. You are Sajjan say naal mein. Let's make it functional. Let's take something away with us in our pockets, in our wallets. This is the reheras. This is the currency that we have. That's what reheras means, is the currency used to travel up the mountain of this life. That's what reheras has. When we do reheras in the evenings, that's what we're collecting. We're collecting that currency to travel up this mountain. So, Sajan say naal mein jaldi aa naal chalan, jithe lekha mangiye, tithe khare desan. Sajan Thag, the cutthroat, was reformed. They would become a Sikh of the Guru. The first Dharamsala was built by them. And an example to all of us, let's stop thinking about our own shortcomings and use these great motivations to remove any obstacles in our minds, these false obstacles that we put in our way that prevent us from making progress, that we should come towards the Guru and say, Guru Sahib, you saved Sajan Thag, but do me a favor, save me too. And in this way we can make a move. We must have made many mistakes for the Katha, the Kirtan. I want to thank my brothers Juginder Singh and Amritpal Singh for joining me and helping me in this service today. You are the Sangat of the Guru. I ask for your forgiveness and your blessings. Be lekhe kathena chutiye khin khin pulan har baksan har baksle nanak pare utar. Vaheguru ji ka khalsa, Vaheguru ji ki fateh.